Wow, okay, so a lot of you commented on my last video, and the consensus seems to be that I am completely wrong when it comes to spoofers being the reason that Sprint parted ways with Niantic. And you guys brought up a lot of great points, so in the spirit of fairness, I'm going to voice your opinions and make a counter video to my own video. So yeah, let's jump right into it. What's good, everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. Yes, this is a response to my last video. I will link to that in the description below so you have some context, but I'm going to be talking about whether or not spoofers are actually the reason that Sprint parted ways with Niantic, and if it's not spoofers, what are the reasons why? So yeah, if you end up enjoying this video, hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and the FTC, I'm just letting you know, this is not a kid-friendly video. Even though I tried to keep it family friendly, I am more of a family friendly guy, but this is some adult stuff, so yeah, don't be an ass, and there you go. YouTube is getting very questionable when it comes to like how we monetize on YouTube and different things like that. So if you want to support this channel financially in case I have to make all of my videos have the kid-friendly tag on it so I don't get sued by the FTC, well, you could support my channel on Patreon. And if you enjoy my content enough where you want to pitch in, go and check it out. I have some really nice perks. Every little bit helps. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's talk about the topic at hand. Now, in my last video, I talked about how spoofers are to blame for why Sprint parted ways with Niantic and how that was going to be a huge financial burden for Niantic, and that spoofers actually cost money rather than get money for Niantic. And you know, a lot of people present the argument that spoofers are the backbone of Pokemon Go, that if it wasn't for the spoofers, Niantic would be making no money. I would argue against that. I've seen completely different results within my own friends list, for example, but regardless of that, that's not what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about whether or not spoofers are actually at fault, because a lot of you presented some great arguments suggesting otherwise. And before I move any further, I do have to make the disclaimer that I don't agree with spoofing. I don't think that people who spoof contribute anything positively for Pokemon Go and its community. Even if you spend a whole bunch of money in this game, you're still cheating. You're still not actively producing positivity for Pokemon Go. But that's just my opinion. I'm not going to judge you for spoofing. I have a lot of people on my friends list who spoof, and I'm totally fine with it. I interact with spoofers, I talk with them all the time, and it's really how I produce a lot of my points in my videos. But in any case, yeah, so spoofers, you know, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to say that I don't agree with you, and I don't agree with how you play, but that shouldn't stop you from spoofing if you want to spoof. So yeah, now that I said that, let's kind of defend spoofers here, because a lot of you who are legit players have been telling me no, this is not the reason why Sprint left Niantic. Like, I actually think you guys brought up some really great points, and one of those points that I've been constantly hearing is something that I really can't argue against, is that Sprint wasn't going to be making money with additional foot traffic anyway. So even if they were getting more foot traffic, their sales were probably not going up. And I can kind of agree with that, because Sprint, as much as I've been a loyal customer of Sprint for a long time, there are definitely moments where I wish I was T-Mobile or Verizon. Well, T-Mobile did merge with Sprint, but that's going to be point number 2. I'm going to get into that later. But in any case, yeah, I don't think Sprint saw an increase of sales regardless of additional foot traffic. And I can see that if there was a lot of foot traffic, it would actually prevent people from going into the store in the first place. So I'm pretty sure Sprint saw a lot of that and were wondering to themselves, why are we paying Niantic for this additional foot traffic when that foot traffic is not translating into sales? I can totally see that being a reason why they split ways with Niantic. So yeah, are spoofers at fault? Probably, but maybe not. I honestly think that, you know, this was a huge factor because, yeah, I had a friend who worked at Sprint. He was a district manager, and he was the one that told me that Sprint is parting ways with Niantic. Almost a year ago, he brought this up, and he said that one of the things that he heard is that the data suggests that a lot of what they're doing for Niantic, like paying Niantic money for these Pokestops and gyms, is not translating to enough foot traffic, and it's not translating to enough sales. And he said that one of the things that he found out is that spoofers skewed a lot of that data, which is why I made the video that I did. Of course, I don't have the numbers to back that up, and of course I don't have the data myself. That's kind of locked in key by Sprint and Niantic. They're the ones that are looking at the numbers, so it really comes down to Sprint or Niantic to be transparent about why they are parting ways. But of course they're not going to do that because it's going to be bad optics for Niantic. They want to get more sponsors in the future, and they don't want to reveal why Sprint parted ways. But yeah, I really cannot disagree with the idea that, you know, Sprint being a sponsor, they were paying for more foot traffic, but that foot traffic was not translating to sales, because how often do we need more phones? Like, yeah, maybe if they were trying to lure in Pokemon Go players with, you know, charging stations and different things like that. I remember that happening early on, but, you know, I just don't see like how like Sprint could have won with this sort of sponsorship deal. Like, let's be real here, like they were going to lose money. It was a really bad deal for Sprint, and this is the one thing where, you know, being a sponsor for a game would not pay off, and they were the ones that failed to see that. For Starbucks, it's a different story, because even myself, for EX raids, like if I had an EX raid at a Starbucks, I would go in and buy a drink. So there you go. Like, it's like if I'm waiting for a raid at a Starbucks gym, like I will naturally go inside and buy something, whether it be like a green tea latte with coconut milk or some sort of like just an Americano, like a tall Americano, just to pass the time. Like in that case, I can see how the sponsorship is actually paying the business. But yeah, when it comes to Sprint, I can't not see for the life of me how any of that foot traffic translated into sales, unless they were selling batteries or something like that. Like there was no way for Sprint to make absolutely a lot of money through this sponsorship. So I'll give you that, guys. Like, I don't think Sprint had a good deal to begin with. Now, the second argument that I've been hearing a lot is, of course, the Sprint and T-Mobile merger, although I do not think that that had anything to do with the sponsorship loss on Niantic's part. I actually think the Sprint and T-Mobile merger may have helped that sponsorship, considering that more resources would have been put into Sprint and a lot of their current contracts, and they would have afforded being a sponsor for much longer periods of time. But it didn't seem like that was the case. Like, a lot of the timing seems to suggest that T-Mobile was not happy with this sponsorship, so they wanted Sprint to back out, and it could have been one of the possible terms for this merger. So yeah, I honestly don't know if the merger had anything to do with Sprint leaving Niantic. I honestly don't know, but it's definitely a possibility. So if you guys are using that as your argument, then yeah, it's a valid argument, but we just don't know. And of course, the third argument that I have been hearing is that this is not Sprint who left the sponsorship with Niantic, but it's actually Niantic who are trying to trim down on their sponsorships in hope of getting more of the small businesses. And to that, I actually disagree. I do not think that Sprint would drop a multi-million-dollar sponsorship in order to push for more small business sponsorships. They could have both. So that is probably the weakest argument. So yeah, out of the three arguments, I really think the sales thing is probably the strongest. Although we do not have the data, like none of us have the data to suggest one way or the other. I'm going to admit that. I know in my last video, I was presenting a lot of the facts as facts, when in reality, it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of hearsay. Like, just because I have someone on the inside doesn't mean I have all of the concrete data in front of me. And of course, I can't present that to you guys as well. So I apologize for seeming like I was trying to be scientific when I really wasn't. So I will call myself out on that. So yeah, you guys don't have to keep commenting about how I'm being really unfair and unjust. So I get it. But yeah, just like I said at the top of this video, I do not agree with spoofing. I think you guys do not contribute contribute anything positively to this game, but that shouldn't stop you from spoofing if you want to spoof. But I really suggest you try playing the game legitimately, because you're missing out on a lot of great experiences. Like I said before, I have a lot of friends who spoof, and I do talk to them quite a lot, and a lot of them have quit for long periods of time, and they're just coming back to the game whenever there is an event that interests them, or if there's a new raid boss. Like, they have no desire to play the game, and I see it being a very common occurrence. A lot of people who spoof get bored of the game really quickly, and I've been saying this for the longest time. The game is not designed for spoofers. It's meant to be a slow burn, but a lot of spoofers have full access to everything almost immediately. So of course, if you're spoofing, the game is going to be boring. You're always going to be asking for more content, pressuring Niantic, and I have been saying for a long time that Niantic is pushing out content too quickly, and they need to adjust and polish a lot of their past content. But I feel like because of the pressure that a lot of spoofers put on Niantic, yeah, they're pushing out content way too quickly. And honestly, more content is always a good thing, but I honestly think Niantic needs to step on the brakes and polish up a lot of their past content. Because I mean, my goodness, we're still seeing a lot of the most common, most egregious bugs in raid battles and gym battles and PvP. Like, a lot of this stuff needs to get ironed out before they move on to new content. So yeah, I'm really hoping that's the direction they go in 2020. And if you are a spoofer, again, I highly suggest you join a legit community and play legitimately. You are missing out on a lot of fun. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Again, I love your feedback. I love your input. Definitely share your thoughts in the comments section below. I'm not here to be hostile towards anyone, but I want to have a great discussion. Opinions can change if we just discuss things. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. What did you think about this video? What do you think about all of the arguments going one way or another? Definitely share your thoughts. I would love to read them. And yeah, I am Count Jinsula, and I'll catch you all later. Hey guys, before I leave, I have to give a little bit of a spiel. I mean, when it comes to the YouTube algorithm, it's extremely difficult to gauge how successful you can be on YouTube. Like, there are some times where I have a ton of views on my videos, and there are some days where I just have no views on my videos, and it really comes down to the YouTube algorithm. And there's a lot of times where I get dinged for some of the songs that I pick or some of the footage that I show, and unfortunately it's because YouTube's copyright system is a little bit broken. But if you want to support this channel financially, I highly suggest you check out my Patreon. A link to it is in the description below. Your support definitely helps me out, and it helps support this channel, because I would love to crank out more videos and increase the quality, and for that to happen, I do need your help. So definitely go and check out that link. And yeah, big shout out and big thank you to all of you for supporting my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell as well. Check out the links in the description below. I am Count Jinsula, and I'll catch you all later.